MIT graduate engineer, libertarian congressman, the man his own party sometimes votes no on. Thomas Massie doesn't do theater. He doesn't do math. He just asks. That day, he came with a red, colorful tabbed folder. He wanted to record 4 documents. And then he asked, Director Patel, at least 20 names appear in these files that the FBI is aware of. A Hollywood producer, a member of the royal family, at least 6 billionaires, a rock star. Have you investigated these? 20 seconds of silence. 20 seconds is an eternity in congressional hearings. Watch the entire video, because these 5 minutes will be a textbook example of how to ask questions. But to understand the significance of those questions, one needs to grasp what Massie brought and what Patel had to accept. Chapter 1. Who is Massie? Thomas Massie, Kentucky congressman, an MIT engineering graduate, known for his libertarian leanings and voting independently of his party. Massie's interrogation style is simple. He doesn't ask a question he doesn't know the answer to. He reads the documents he brings. He records the unanswered questions in the minutes. He doesn't show off. He doesn't put on a show for the camera. That day, preparation was important for Massie in terms of making a difference, because the documents he had were obtained from publicly available sources. It is not leaked information, not classified material, public media reports and official court records. And this is an important nuance. Chapter 2. The first 45 minutes. The first 45 minutes of the hearing were standard procedure. Cybersecurity protocols, concerns about Chinese espionage, domestic security statistics. Patel provided prepared answers to each of them. She glanced at her notes twice. He looked relaxed and in control, but he wasn't paying any attention to Massie. When Massie took the floor, the room changed. No one said anything, but everyone felt it. Massie didn't smile. He didn't say anything polite. He just opened the folder. Chapter 3. 4 documents and a statement contradiction. Director Patel, there are 4 documents I would like to enter into the record. First, a media report stating that former U.S. Attorney Alexander Acosta said in an interview, "They told me Epstein belonged to intelligence and to leave it alone." Secondly, there was a report about Epstein's bodyguard warning of CIA connections. And thirdly, another report showing his private calendar with meetings planned with a CIA official during the Obama administration. Fourth, a Wall Street Journal article about former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak having 36 meetings with Epstein. If there are no objections, let these documents be entered into the record. Patel's statement did not change, but his hands shifted slightly on the table. The fingers pressed a little harder. Massie continued. Director Patel, I watched your Senate hearing yesterday. Senator Kennedy asked you, is there anyone else beside Epstein who has been subjected to human trafficking? And your answer was, there is no credible information on these individuals. Massie leaned forward. This answer is interesting because it contradicts your own files. This answer is interesting because it contradicts your own files. If you want to follow this kind of political and institutional analysis, subscribe to our channel and keep the notifications on. Let's continue. Section 4. FD 302 Documents. While Patel was trying to respond, Massie interrupted, saying, You said the limited search warrants and non-prosecution agreement from 2006 to 2007 only bind South Florida, but that doesn't apply to the Southern District of New York, where the 2019 human trafficking indictment was also filed. The district that produced thousands of pages of material for this indictment, including FD 302 documents. He pulled another page. FD 302. For the record, these are FBI interview summaries, official records, not speculation. The official documentation of witnesses' meetings with federal agents. Massie continued. According to the statements of victims cooperating with the FBI in this investigation,
The FBI has, Patel has, FD 302 documents identifying at least 20 people whom Jeffrey Epstein's victims were subjected to. Among these individuals is Jess Staley, the CEO of Barclays Bank, named by Virginia Roberts Giuffre. The room froze. The sound of the camera was heard. The reporters started writing. The committee members looked at each other, some with expressions of shock, others with expressions of, finally.
Chapter 5. 20 Names. Massie continued in a calm tone, saying that there are at least 19 more people on the list, including a Hollywood producer worth hundreds of millions of dollars and a royal prince, a high-profile figure in the music industry, a very well-known banker, a senior government official, a former recognized politician, the owner of an Italian car company, a rock star, a magician, at least 6 billionaires, including a Canadian billionaire. He looked directly at Patel. We know that these individuals are in the FBI files, in the files under your control. I don't know exactly who they are, but the FBI knows. But the FBI knows. Chapter 6. 20 Seconds. Did you investigate these people? 20 seconds. In the room, the silence was palpable enough to hear the hum of the ventilation system. Massie waited. Patel finally spoke. His tone was more defensive. Congressman, I am not saying that these victims are unreliable. This is the finding of 2 different U.S. attorneys' offices under 3 separate administrations looking at the same materials. Massie shook his head. I didn't ask that. Are there FD 302 documents in the FBI's possession, yes or no? Patel hesitated. Yes. Did you personally review these FD 302 documents where the victims named the individuals who harmed them? I personally don't know, but the FBI reviewed it. Massie leaned back. Then how can you sit in front of the Senate and say there is no name in the files? You didn't personally read the files. Patel's jaw tightened. Congressman, we do not have a tradition of publishing victim names at the DOJ or the FBI. We also don't have a tradition of publishing unreliable information. You probably mean unbelievable, not unreliable. And multiple authorities have looked at all of this material. And multiple authorities reviewed all of these materials. Chapter 7. Influencers and Victims. Massie changed the subject and asked directly, You were there when Attorney General Bondi shared the files with social media influencers at the White House event, weren't you? Patel said, Yes, and Massie immediately added, Since you are meeting with influencers, will you also meet face-to-face with the victims? The question hung in the air. It could be heard that some of the audience were shaking their heads, a couple of audible whispers. Patel looked at his lawyers. He wasn't passing. Help wasn't coming. The FBI interviews everyone who has information. Would you personally meet with them? The professionals handling the cases and the FBI will meet. I didn't ask that. Shopping was becoming increasingly bothersome, a real discomfort, the kind that makes good television because it was sincere. Chapter 8. The CIA File Question. Moving on to the last question, Massie asked, Did you investigate the CIA connections? Did you see a CIA file related to Epstein? And if you wanted to see it, would it have been shown to you? When he asked, the language of Patel's response was particularly noteworthy. I can speak on behalf of the FBI. This is assuming it's a CIA case file, and if there is anything outside of what was provided to the FBI will look at any new investigative leads. Conditional, uncertain, not binding. Assuming there is such a file, if there is something outside of what has been provided. Massie noticed this language but didn't take it further. He had made his point. The uncertainty was now on record. Chapter 9. Public Reaction. The clips spread quickly, and both conservative and liberal media presented the trial from their own perspectives, while legal analysts began discussing the significance of the FD 302 documents and why the FBI did not open an investigation despite these documents. Two different streams of reaction emerged on social media. Massie conducted real oversight versus, why is this coming up now? This duality shows the political weight of the issue. Chapter 10. Claim or reality? At this point, it is clear that the four documents Massie wanted to enter into the record were based on publicly available news. Patel confirmed that the FD 302 documents were with the FBI and admitted that he had not personally read them. Massie's mention of 20 individuals referred to victim statements, indicating that these individuals were mentioned in the FD 302 documents. Unverified claims. The identities of the 20 people were not disclosed to the public. The categories listed by Massie were general descriptions, not specific names. No official answer has been given as to why no investigation was opened into these individuals. Patel's "no credible information" statement. Patel continued to defend this, citing the FBI's corporate assessment. Massie recorded that Patel did not personally read the relevant documents while making this assessment. Acosta's "intelligence" statement. This is a quote from an interview Acosta gave years ago, independently verified. The true meaning of the CIA connection is still debatable. Sun, 5 minutes and real supervision. Within 5 minutes, Massie cornered Patel without shouting or making a scene, simply by entering 4 public documents into the record and asking questions based on Patel's own admissions, to the point where if she said, "I read it," she would then have to answer the question, then why was no one investigated? If he said he hadn't read them, it would have emerged that he had given extensive testimony about the documents he hadn't read. The second option occurred, and it was recorded. This is one of the rare examples of the theoretical functioning of corporate accountability being reflected in practice. The results are uncertain. Investigations are ongoing. Legal processes have not yet become clear, but questions were asked. No answers were given, and this dichotomy will continue to remain on the public agenda. If you have followed this analysis up to this point and want to keep up with the analyses on corporate accountability, subscribe to our channel and keep the notifications on. We will continue to analyze the developments of this process here. You can share your opinions in the comments. How should the balance be struck between the public disclosure of FD 302 documents and maintaining the integrity of the investigation? See you in the next video.